Adolf Hitler, one of the most infamous figures in history, was born on April 20, 1889, in Braunau am Inn, Austria-Hungary, now Austria. His early life was marked by struggles, as his father was strict and his mother passed away when he was just 18. After failing to secure a spot at the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna, Hitler lived a difficult life in the city, where he developed many of his anti-Semitic and nationalistic views. It was during these years that he began to harbor deep resentments against Jews, Marxists, and anyone he believed contributed to the collapse of Germany in World War I. When World War I broke out in 1914, Hitler eagerly enlisted in the German army, serving as a messenger. He was wounded twice during the war, once in a mustard gas attack, and was later temporarily blinded. The war's conclusion, and the subsequent Treaty of Versailles, deeply humiliated Germany and led to economic hardship, political instability, and a sense of betrayal among the German people. These feelings would fuel Hitler's rise to power in the 1920s and 1930s. In 1919, Hitler joined the German Workers' Party, which would eventually become the Nazi Party. By 1921, Hitler had become the party's leader and began using his oratorical skills and powerful propaganda to gain support. The Nazi Party promoted an extreme form of nationalism, anti-Semitism, and the idea of Aryan racial superiority. Hitler's speeches were filled with fiery rhetoric, and his promise to restore Germany's lost honor and reclaim its power attracted many who were frustrated by the Weimar Republic's instability. In 1923, Hitler attempted to overthrow the German government in what became known as the Beer Hall Putsch. The coup failed, and Hitler was arrested and sentenced to prison. During his time in prison, Hitler wrote his infamous autobiography and political manifesto, Mein Kampf, in which he outlined his vision for Germany's future, his hatred for Jews, and his plan for territorial expansion. After serving just 9 months of his sentence, Hitler was released and began rebuilding the Nazi Party. The Great Depression of the late 1920s and early 1930s played a significant role in Hitler's rise to power. As unemployment skyrocketed and the Weimar government struggled to address the economic crisis, Hitler promised to restore stability and national pride. The Nazi Party gained more support, and by 1933, Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany. Once in power, he quickly moved to consolidate his authority. The Reichstag fire of February 1933 allowed him to push through emergency powers, and soon after, Hitler eliminated political opponents and established a totalitarian regime. With Hitler's rise, Nazi ideology spread across Germany. He enacted laws that discriminated against Jews and other minorities, such as the Nuremberg Laws, which deprived Jews of their citizenship and basic rights. He promoted the idea of Lebensraum, living space, advocating for the expansion of German territory, particularly to the east. The militarization of Germany began in earnest, violating the Treaty of Versailles, which Hitler had long despised. Hitler's foreign policy was aggressive, and by 1938, he had annexed Austria and demanded the Sudetenland region of Czechoslovakia. The Munich Agreement, signed by Britain, France, Italy, and Germany, allowed Hitler to take these territories in the name of preventing war. However, this policy of appeasement only emboldened him further, and on September 1, 1939, Hitler invaded Poland, triggering World War II. As the war unfolded, Hitler's initial successes, such as the rapid conquest of France and large parts of Eastern Europe, were overshadowed by his brutal policies. The Holocaust, the systematic extermination of 6 million Jews, alongside millions of Romani people, disabled individuals, political dissidents, and others, became the darkest chapter of his regime. Hitler's belief in racial purity and the creation of a master Aryan race led to unimaginable suffering and loss of life. However, as the war dragged on, Hitler's strategic decisions began to falter. The German invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941 ended in failure, and the tide of the war began to turn. The Allied forces, including the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Soviet Union, began to push back the Axis powers on all fronts. The D-Day invasion in June 1944 marked the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. As the Allies closed in on Berlin, Hitler became increasingly paranoid and isolated. In April 1945, with Soviet forces on the doorstep of Berlin, Hitler took his own life in the Führer bunker, his underground headquarters, along with his wife, Eva Braun. His death marked the collapse of Nazi Germany, and just days later, Germany surrendered unconditionally on May 8, 1945. Hitler's life and actions left an indelible mark on history, not only for the sheer scale of the devastation he caused during World War II but also for the ideology of hate and racism that he propagated. His reign of terror led to the deaths of tens of millions and left the world with a legacy of destruction and trauma. The Holocaust remains one of the most horrific genocides in human history, and Hitler's impact on the world is a somber reminder of the dangers of unchecked power, intolerance, and prejudice. In the aftermath of World War II, many of Hitler's close associates were tried at the Nuremberg trials, and his regime was condemned for its atrocities. Hitler himself, however, remains a symbol of evil in modern history, a cautionary tale about the dangers of extremist ideologies and totalitarian regimes. His legacy continues to shape global politics, and the horrors of the Holocaust remain a critical subject of remembrance, ensuring that such horrors are never repeated. If you found this story insightful, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content like this, and share. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.